Finally, it is actually happening. We have been talking about the mythical iPhone Fold since dinosaurs roamed the earth. Or, at least since 2016. But today, we aren't just talking about patents or wild rumors. We are looking at metal, cold, hard, aluminum proof that Apple is finally ready to bend the rules. Welcome back to the channel. If you have been waiting for Apple to finally catch up to Samsung, grab your popcorn. Because a massive leak just dropped from a Turkish case manufacturer that claims to show the official production mold for the very first iPhone Fold. Now, you might be thinking, a mold? Who cares about a piece of metal? But in the manufacturing world, the mold is the holy grail. This is what they use to make sure the cases fit perfectly on day one. If this leak is real, it means the design is locked, loaded, and ready to empty our bank accounts. So, let's break down exactly what this leak shows us, because it is fascinating. According to the dimensions we are seeing, the iPhone Fold isn't trying to be a tall, skinny remote control like the Galaxy Fold used to be. No. Apple is going for the Goldilocks size. When you unfold this thing, it is roughly the size of an iPad mini. Imagine that. An iPad mini that you can fold in half and shove in your pocket. And when you close it, it shrinks down to the size of an iPhone mini. This is genius because it solves the two biggest complaints people have right now. We want huge screens for movies, but we hate carrying bricks in our jeans. If this mold is accurate, Apple is basically saying, here is your tablet, and here is your compact phone, all in one device. But here's the funny part, and it is a little embarrassing for the Apple invented everything crowd. If you look at the shape of this new iPhone Fold, it looks suspiciously familiar. In fact, it looks almost identical to a concept phone Samsung showed off at CES way back in 2013. Yes, 2013. Back when the iPhone 5 was the hottest thing on the block and Windows Phone was still trying to exist. Samsung showed us this exact form factor over a decade ago. It was just a fake plastic prop back then, but it seems like Samsung had the crystal ball all along. Apple has reportedly been studying Samsung's homework for 10 years, waiting for the technology to actually catch up to the dream, and that is the classic Apple playbook, isn't it? Let everyone else be the crash test dummies. Let Samsung figure out the hinges, let Google figure out the software bugs, and then, when it is safe, Apple swoops in and says, look what we invented. But Samsung isn't sitting still waiting for Apple to catch up. While Apple is struggling to release its first foldable, Samsung is already moving on to level 4. We are hearing reports that the Galaxy Trifold is about to hit the US market. This thing has 2 hinges. It unfolds into a massive 10-inch screen. It is basically a transformer. But hold on to your wallets, folks, because the price is absolutely eye-watering. We are talking about $2,899. That is nearly $3,000 for a phone that is getting dangerously close to Apple Vision Pro territory. And the rumor is that Samsung won't even let you trade in your old devices for it, and they might not even offer insurance. Can you imagine carrying a $3,000 glass origami sculpture in your pocket with zero insurance? That is a level of anxiety I am not ready for. Now, let's get back to the iPhone Fold mold, because there are some spicy details on the back. If you look closely at the camera layout, it is surprising. We expected something crazy, maybe a camera bar or a giant circle. But no, it looks like 2 lenses stacked vertically. It is very simple. It actually looks a lot like the standard iPhone 16 layout. This tells us something important. This first iPhone Fold might not be a Pro model. It might just be the iPhone Fold. 2 cameras, not 3. That suggests Apple is trying, emphasis on trying, to keep the weight and the price somewhat reasonable. And speaking of weight, we have to talk about the iPhone Air. We keep hearing about this ultra-thin iPhone coming in 2026. Well, it turns out the Air might actually be the testbed for the Fold. To make a foldable phone that doesn't feel like a brick, you need incredibly thin components. And the biggest enemy of thinness is Face ID. That notch, that dynamic island, it takes up deep vertical space, but leaks from Instant Digital claim Apple has figured out how to shrink the Face ID module and the True Depth camera. They're making a mini Face ID. This is huge. If they can shrink those sensors, they can make the iPhone Air super thin, and more importantly, they can fit Face ID into a skinny foldable screen without making the bezels huge, although there is a conflicting rumor. Some people think the iPhone Fold won't have Face ID at all. It might use Touch ID and the power button, just like the iPad Air. Honestly, I would love that. Unlocking your phone without lifting it off the table? Yes, please. Now let's zoom out and talk about money. Because Wall Street is watching this very closely. Apple stock has been a bit of a roller coaster lately. Investors are worried. They're saying, where is the innovation? Where is the growth? Well, analysts from Bank of America are screaming that 2026 is the year. They have a price target of $325 on Apple stock.
Why?
2 words: foldables and AI. They believe that the launch of the iPhone Fold, combined with a new super smart Siri powered by generative AI, is going to trigger a supercycle. We haven't seen a real supercycle since the iPhone 10 or maybe the iPhone 12. But think about it. If you have an iPhone 12, 13, or 14 right now, are you going to upgrade to a standard iPhone 16? Maybe. But would you upgrade to an iPhone that turns into an iPad? Absolutely, but here is the painful part. The price. We mentioned the Samsung Trifold is $2,900. Well, do not expect the iPhone Fold to be cheap. Estimates are putting it right around the $2,500 mark. That is painful. That is sell your kidney money. But knowing Apple, they will sell it as a 2-in-1 device. Don't buy a phone and an iPad. Just buy this. It is a clever marketing trick, and honestly, it usually works on me, so the big question remains. Is this mold leak legit? It is rare for case makers to leak things this early unless they are 100% sure. Usually, they get these molds from the supply chain data. The fact that it has a MagSafe ring on the back, the specific camera alignment, and the size matching the iPad mini rumors makes this feel very, very real. We are finally at the finish line. After 10 years of watching Samsung have all the fun, Apple is about to enter the chat. And when Apple enters a category, whether you like them or hate them, they usually change the game. Are you ready to switch to a foldable? Or are you terrified of the crease in the middle of the screen? And would you pay $2,500 for an Apple logo that bends? Let me know in the comments below. I seriously want to know if you guys think this is the future or just a passing fad. If you enjoyed this update, smash that thumbs up button. It helps the channel a ton. Subscribe so you don't miss the official reveal, and I will catch you in the next one.